Hi there, my name's Rachel. I think we are on day 27 of the current lockdown. I'm here to tell you that you are still not alone. I haven't washed my hair today, so it's got this kind of windswept and interesting look. I think I look a bit like Boris Johnson. It's not the look I was going for. But hey, we're in a pandemic. What can I say? So I wanted to follow on a little bit from what I was saying yesterday about developing a habit, maintaining a good habit. And I think some of the areas where we can get a bit stuck, I think one of the areas where we can get stuck is when our goals and intentions are too big, because we can set ourselves up to fail. So, for instance, playing the saxophone. If I decide that I'm going to practice for half an hour every day without fail, then what happens is I miss a day and then it feels like I failed. Or I think to myself, well, half an hour, that's a long time. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it later. Or whatever it might be. So giving ourselves a target that is too big, we end up not doing any and giving up. So my aim is to do something each day. So I purposely leave it out, so I don't need to kind of set it up, because the setting up takes a couple of minutes. And even if all I'm doing is my easiest scale, that's enough. I probably never practice for longer than 15 minutes, which is partly because I'm setting myself simple goals. Play one piece through, play around with a couple of scales, have a little improv, do one thing. If I decide to do more, that's fine. The other reason is my cat absolutely hates it. So she did well today. She's hiding on the bed rather than behind the bed. But I wouldn't put her through loads of practice. But by doing that little and often, it means that it doesn't feel like a chore. And I think that's really important. And I think the other thing that's really important is when we look back at the end of our week at how much we have achieved of our goal, do we look at, oh, I missed 2 days out of 7? Or do we look at, oh, I managed 5 days out of 7? Or even if we only did 2 days, do we go, do we focus on the 5 days that we missed or the 2 days that we did? And I think that's really important too. Because if we just focus on what we haven't achieved, then when it comes to the next week, it's like, well, I failed last week, why would I do it again? So, we're going to do a little wins practice. So, just settle into your posture for meditation. And lightly close your eyes, if this works for you. And just start to settle into a sense of being grounded. Feeling the contact of the feet on the floor, contact with your chair, allowing a sense of being held and supported, softening any tension that you might be holding, and just tuning into your breath. Breathing in and out in your own natural rhythm. And then, when you're ready, casting your mind back over the last week, bringing to mind something that you had set an intention to do. And even if you have not completely achieved that goal, seeing if you can celebrate whatever part of that goal you have achieved. So the one time you've meditated, or the 2 times you've done yoga, or the little bit of housework you've done. Celebrate the little wins, the little habits that you're starting with. Celebrate what you are doing rather than what you're not. And notice how that feels. And then just letting go, observing the sounds around you. So opening your eyes when you're ready. Another thing I find quite helpful when it comes to intentions and habits is to think about how we talk about them and how we talk to ourselves about them. So, for instance, right at the beginning of the year, I created like a little drawing of my intentions and my goals for the year, but I wrote in a very specific way. So I wrote in the middle, I wrote the words "I am," and then I listed the things that I wanted around the outside, but as though it was already fact. So, for instance, rather than saying, setting a New Year's resolution to practice the saxophone every day, or setting a New Year's resolution to pass my next grade exam, which is completely out of my hands anyway, because whether I can do an exam or not depends on the pandemic. I wrote, I am a saxophonist. Because what is a saxophonist? It's not someone who plays publicly, because let's face it, no one's doing that now. It's not someone who has passed their grade 8 exam. It's not someone who does it for a living. A saxophonist is someone who at least occasionally plays the saxophone. But if I tell myself that is what I am, that is who I am, well, it would make sense for me to play. Similarly, rather than saying, I will meditate for 40 minutes every day, that might be too much pressure for whatever reason. Instead of saying that, just saying, I am a meditator. Well, if I'm a meditator, I'm going to meditate. So just telling myself these things. And I think the other thing to avoid is the word try. And it's one of my little bugbears. And so when people say, oh, I'm going to try and do this, what your brain hears is, yeah, but you're going to fail. You might try to do it, but you're not going to do it. You know, I'm going to try and be tidier. I'm going to try and keep on top of the housework. Okay, so you what that means is you're going to think about it. You're going to tell yourself that it's something that you can't do, and you're not going to do it. Whereas if you say, I am organised, or I am house proud, or I am whatever, then that identity that you're starting to absorb as part of who you are, well, that goes with doing those things. So language is powerful. Celebrating what we are already doing is powerful. And just noticing how you talk to yourself about it, and little goals or intentions. And keep it fun as well. One of the things that my saxophone teacher said to me is, yeah, you've got this piece that we're working on, but if you decide one day that you want to work on something else, and if you come to the next lesson and you're like, well, I haven't done it at all, but I have done this other thing, at least you're playing. That's the main thing. So now I know that I can play, and if I get to a point where it's like, actually this is doing my head in, I'll pick something else. So I've played the piece that I'm working on, but then I've started exploring other things, and it's keeping it fun. Because things should be fun. Okay, I'm going to stop waffling. Explore some of this stuff yourself. I'll be back tomorrow. And remember, you're still not alone. Bye.